Hi, I'm Bernadette, and today I would like to give you a tutorial that kills a few birds with one stone, because I have had some requests for some interesting components of music. I've had a request for a Boogie Woogie bass pattern, and I've also had a request of how I put my arrangements together. So first of all, and we're going to do this with one foul swoop with one wonderful song. So first of all, I was asked to name the bass notes when you're playing this rock and roll or boogie woogie pattern. Now I'm going to do this in C major. I hope you can see this here. And so first of all, I'm going to name you the notes. So it'll be, if we're playing with, well, first of all, with chords. So it'll be C, C major, E, C major, G, C major, A, C major, E flat, C major, A, C major, G, C major, E, C major, C. Okay? So C, E, G, A, B flat, A, G, E, C. Now, what you can do, you can just play like that. You can just play that bass pattern, which would be what the bass guitar or maybe a muted trombone might be playing. And if you're playing in a blues pattern, it will probably go to F major, which is the subdominant, back to C, and G, and then C. Now, there's no reason why you just don't do that, but you can if you want to. And I know there are many arrangements of music that actually add the C major chord. Now, the problem with adding this is that it sort of sounds almost like a polka gone wrong. Ah, yes, we're all going to dance. No. So, you have to be very careful. And often when you add the, I'm going to show you how to do this again. So the C major is played by the second finger, so that would be 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, or 4, 2, 5, 2. Again, C, C major, E, C major, G, A, B flat. It usually works best if you syncopate it. So it's like you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So it would be good to practice that way. That's using triplets. So we're counting in 3. 1, 2, 3. So the first two of the triplet are the bass note, and the last one is the chord. And that's going to help you get the right feel when you play, if you're going to play this pattern. So it does also sound. I do both. I play both with the bass, with the chord and without the chord. What the chord can do is kind of give you a springing point that you can spring to the bass. So that can give you a little more spring to the music. So that, but you have to be careful, otherwise it's not going to sound so great. This is a great thing to practice slowly. Yes, how many times have I said this? Practice slowly, and I still do it. The second thing that I would like to talk about is how I put an arrangement together. And it just so happens that I have just put out In the Mood, and it's exactly the same pattern that I'm using. We're going to go right down here to A flat, which the song's in A flat major. So I don't use the major chord when I play this pattern. So, In the Mood, okay, here we are. Now, I chose when I wanted to get the nicest, brassiest sound that I could. And so when I use MIDI, this is not a midified accordion, but if I do use MIDI, I try to blend the sounds really nicely and make sure they both sound good together. So instead of perhaps using a master register or a low register, I decided to use violin. So that gives you a nice, very strong middle register. So when you're playing something like that, that's the beginning of your piece. And you're getting to the, which is your introduction, and, yeah, sorry. And that's where the bass comes in. So you don't play the bass for the beginning, you play. Now it gets really interesting because you have to work up, and you can work. Usually the best way I found is to learn your melodies. So okay, here we go. Okay, that's easy enough. But you need a bass line, and I've talked about that. So here we go. Put the two together and you get this. Okay. But that's not all. There's so many different, when you have a big band, you have, this is actual part is played by the saxophones, and it's played by harmonies. Now there's not very much that you can do, but you can simulate that harmony. You can do something like, or just whatever it is, keep the melody in mind, that you have to be able to hear the melody. So we have this. So we have that part organized, but there's another part that sneaks in there. Oh, you can play that again with the bass. So we have great. Well, that's fine, except there's something missing. When you listen carefully to the recording, you hear this brass coming in with. So, can we fit it all together? This is where we have to play really slowly. Let's look at the right hand where you have. And guess what you can do? So, putting everything together with the left hand, we have here. That gives you some idea of how I put together a piece of music. I listen to all the different parts and I get them all ready to be put together. And sometimes it's harder than others. The other interesting thing that I like to talk about is sometimes instead of following the bass pattern, you can follow a more percussive pattern. So if you take a song like Kiss the Girl, so you've got in the left hand here, you've got a more percussive pattern. And you're starting, it's not easy because look at this, you've got so F major and then two C's. F major, C, C, F major. That's not easy. And then you decide to put that together with the right hand. Ooh, it's a whole different story. So, a melody like this, we'll start off with one. On the second beat. And that's where you have to think really, looking at it, even if you're not using the music, think about where you are in the bar, in the measure, or the bar, and where each note comes in. So. So we have here 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then we go 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So that can be very difficult, putting things together. And there's only one way to do it, and that is very slowly. And you have to, I think, let your fingers find the muscle memory to play it. So that in itself is a syncopation that you don't normally see. The A's by itself. So that's another form of how we can put things together. So there are so many different bass patterns that we can use. And really the most difficult part of putting songs together is the syncopation. And so that gives you, I hope, an eye-opener, perhaps, as to how I put my songs together, how they work, and the different layering of sounds that I showed you for In the Mood, where you start with your bass, or you can start with your melody, and then the harmony that goes with the melody, and then the counter chords played by the brass, and then finally the bass. And you can put your song together. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope that you find it interesting, and it will inspire you with your own music to look further and understand what you're playing and try something new, which is always wonderful. And I wish you luck with the bass patterns, So here it is, New Year, and please, this is a great time to start a resolution to work on some wonderful accordion music. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.